Microsoft patches 81 flaws, 2 are 0 days. The Government of Canada confirms a breach of emails and phone numbers. NVIDIA releases Garrick, an open-source LLM vulnerability scanner. And a U.S. senator urges the FTC to probe Microsoft security practices. And the case of the bricked SSDs. The mystery is finally solved. This is Cybersecurity Today. I'm your host, Jim Love. Microsoft released its September Patch Tuesday update, fixing 81 security flaws, but 2 of them were publicly disclosed before Microsoft released this month's fixes. There are a lot of issues in the current update. 41 are elevation of privilege bugs, 22 are remote code execution, and 16 are information disclosure. The rest include spoofing and denial of service issues. The first of the 2 0 days, CVE 2025-55234, is a Windows SMB server vulnerability that can be abused in relay-style attacks. Microsoft recommends enabling SMB signing and extended protection for authentication, but warns that admins should check compatibility first so they don't break older systems. The second 0 day, CVE 2024-21907, is the Newtonsoft JSON library used by SQL Server. Attacks can send crafted JSON data that triggers a Stack Overflow, leading to a denial of service without even needing authentication. 9 of the flaws included are rated critical, including 5 that could allow remote code execution, the kind of vulnerabilities that let attackers run their own code on your systems. With 2 0 days already disclosed, attackers have had a head start, so despite any reservations about prior issues on patching, this one should probably be a top priority. And it's a busy time. September has brought fixes from a wide range of vendors. Bleeping Computer has put together a pretty comprehensive list covering Microsoft, Adobe, SAP, VMware, and others. Well worth checking. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the show notes. The Government of Canada has confirmed that individuals' email addresses and phone numbers tied to accounts at the Canada Revenue Agency, Employment and Social Development Canada, and Canada Border Services Agency were accessed in a recent cyber attack. The Treasury Board Secretariat said it was Two Keys Corporation, the provider of the federal multi-factor authentication service, that discovered the incident on August 17th and promptly alerted authorities. A routine software update between August 3rd and August 15th introduced the vulnerability. The gap allowed a malicious actor to access phone numbers linked to CRA and ESDC accounts and email addresses tied to CBSA accounts. Some of those affected phone numbers later received spam text messages with links to a fake Government of Canada website. The multi-factor service has since been restored, and there's no indication that additional or more sensitive personal data has been accessed. We'll update this more as information comes our way. We've been covering story after story about weaknesses in large language models. But here's at least a step forward. NVIDIA has launched Garrick, a free open-source toolkit that red teams large language models. The tool, whose name stands for Generative AI Red Teaming and Assessment Kit, acts like a penetration testing framework for AI. It probes models for weaknesses such as hallucinations, jailbreaks, prompt injections, data leaks, and toxic outputs. Garrick works across a wide range of systems: Hugging Face, Replicate, OpenAI APIs, Light LLM, REST interfaces, and even the GGUF models like Llama.cpp. It logs its results in 3 ways: a main debugging log, a JSON-L report of every probing attempt, and a hit log that captures only confirmed vulnerabilities. The tool is Apache licensed and backed by research formalizing how to test AI models for security risks. With AI being embedded into more critical systems, Garrick may help give organizations a scalable way to stress test their models and catch failures before attackers do. It's worth checking out at the very least. Microsoft is taking political heat from a senior Democratic senator in Washington. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon has asked the Federal Trade Commission to investigate what he's called the company's gross cybersecurity negligence. Wyden pointed to Microsoft's continued support for the outdated encryption standards like RC4, which he argues enabled ransomware attacks, including the Ascension health breach that exposed data on more than 5.6 million people. In a letter to the FTC chair, Wyden compared Microsoft to an arsonist selling firefighting services to their victims. He argued that its dominance in enterprise IT leaves organizations with little choice but to accept insecure defaults. Microsoft responded that RC4 now makes up less than 0.1% of its traffic and will be disabled by default in some Windows products starting in 2026. Fairly or not, this criticism matters. Wyden isn't just any senator. He's the ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee, one of the most powerful posts in Congress, and he has a long record of pushing cybersecurity issues into the national spotlight. It's not just regulation. Microsoft has a huge number of government contracts, and the Senate Finance Committee is a perfect place to stall some of those. The message is clear. Microsoft's patching services are no longer just a technical issue. They've become a matter of political oversight and a huge liability for the company. But here's at least one piece of good news for Microsoft. The mystery is finally solved. The Windows update didn't brick SSDs. After Microsoft's last Windows 11 update, reports started circulating of failed SSDs. The presumed culprit was the update itself. And Phison, a major maker of SSD controllers, was also caught up in the speculation, with some suggesting its chips were behind the failures. Fortunately, both companies treated the issue seriously. Microsoft did a lot of testing and said its telemetry showed no increase in disk failures. Phison ran more than 4,500 hours of testing and 2,200 test cycles. They couldn't reproduce the problem on production drives. The answer finally came from a PC building group in Taiwan. They discovered what was under everybody's nose. The failing drives were running engineering or preview firmware, not the final consumer version. So on drives with production firmware, the failures didn't occur. Mystery solved. Windows Update wasn't bricking drives. Phison's controllers weren't to blame. The problem lay in a handful of drives running firmware that was never meant for release. What's that Sherlock Holmes used to say? When you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Congratulations to these Sherlock Holmeses in Taiwan. And that's our show for today. You can reach me with tips, comments, even constructive criticism if you like. And if you've got time, check out my interview with the father of Zero Trust this Saturday on our weekend show. It'll be available with your coffee on Saturday morning. I'm your host, Jim Love. Thanks for listening.